Everyone. This is Lady T with Lady T Speaks TV, where we talk about relationships and we talk about relationships and we talk about relationships some more. As promised, I wanted to bring back the information that I promised. And the series I'm talking about is identifying domestic violence. And I'm just showing you an illustration of some of the situations with the different people that are affected by domestic violence, intimate violence relationships. And wanted to talk to you today about what I promised. I wanted to show you the wheel. So if you look at this, you'll see this video, you'll see what the power and control wheel entails. I told you about the different categories, and now I wanted to show you what the actual will look like on the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And as I said on the outset of the first video that I have given you this video, I'm going to give you the information if you find yourself in an abusive relationship or you see the signs of it beginning. You can contact this website and their hotline, and you will get a live person online who will speak with you intensively about your current situation. So, for English speaking Americans, the number is 800 800 799 7233. Again, it's 800 799 7233. And then for Spanish speaking Hispanic Americans, the number is 800 787 3224. Again, it's 800 787 3224. Now, let's talk about this some more. Now, I told you I was going to talk to you about coercion and threats. And in the first part of that pie chart or wheel, power and control wheel, you'll see that's the first thing that's mentioned. And it says using coercion and threats, making and or carrying out threats to do something to hurt her, threatening to leave her, to commit suicide, to report her to welfare, making her drop charges, making her do illegal things. So, I want to talk about that a little bit today, and we'll go deeper into it as the series evolves. But I wanted to share with you that particular subject today. So, again, if you're reading the pictures on the video and you're seeing that domestic violence happens to any and everyone, as I spoke to you on the first video that I had placed up on the YouTube site. But I wanted to share this because, like I said before, it's dear to my heart. And there are so many people who are in domestic violence situations. And one of the slides says 1 out of 4 women are abused in that manner. So that's a lot. 1 out of 4 women. And so the stats are really staggering when it talks about domestic violence. And I wanted to stay with this as long as God allowed me to, because I want to see people healed, delivered, and set free. I want to see men and women and children in particular who are affected long term by domestic violence. And so I wanted to share the information, and I'm going to dig into it, like I said, a little bit further. But coercion. So if you don't know what coercion is, it's in layman's terms is trying to get someone to do something that they really don't want to do, but because you're so forceful about it, you are so demanding about it. In an abusive relationship, oftentimes the person who is being abused, it started out subtly. It could have started with the coercion being something like, I want you to wear these type of clothes. You look good in this, and this is what I prefer. So that's just an example for a woman, a man, and a woman in a domestic violence situation. And again, I told you before that you don't hear often about men being violated in this way because men do not report it as often. They don't talk about it as much. So you will see a wealth of information about women who have been abused, who are in a domestic violence situation. And again, you could be married, you could be just in a living situation, or boyfriend and girlfriend. And in this case, it could be girlfriend to girlfriend. In our climate today, we know that domestic violence does not discriminate. So you could find yourself in these situations. And you can be coerced to do things because we're influenced by the people we are around. We're influenced, especially if you're in an intimate relationship. There is an influence, one from the other. Of course, there is. And oftentimes it's a good influence, but in this case, it is not. And so I wanted you to know about the signs. I wanted you to be aware of what coercion does. I wanted you to be aware of what threats are. And I just gave you one example for a woman, but a woman towards a man, it could be that she provokes him sexually. She refuses to have sex with him if he doesn't do certain things. Um, she holds back her affection and things like that. And so that could be either way, either a man or a woman, either of these people who are the abuser. These are some of the tactics that they do use. And then threats. Threat is easier because when somebody makes a threat to violate you violently, or says, like, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to kill myself. Remember, suicide is a personal issue, and it's not the person that is being abused that should be concerned about that. If the other person needs to get some type of psychiatric assistance at that point, and all you could do at that point is pray and direct them to one of the hotlines that they do have for suicide. But it is not your responsibility to help that person. They have to help themselves, and they can use it as a tactic against you. Some people who may be on welfare or public assistance, because of whatever financial reasons you find yourself in those circumstances. Someone who has monetary gain or who has gainful employment, who has a big salary, can use that against you. Yes, they can. They can use it against you, saying that if you leave me, you're not going to have any financial support from me. I withdraw all my support from you. Listen, hear me clearly. That is one of the main reasons women stay in an abusive situation, because sometimes they are not well educated. They don't have the financial means to go out and find a place to live. Sometimes they have children and they can't take the children somewhere. Yes, they do have shelters, but sometimes shelters, there's a lot going on in there because it's a lot of dysfunction. There are people in there with a lot of issues. And so they're in the same kinds of situations. And sometimes people can be mean and cruel. Even the living conditions sometimes in shelters are not the greatest. And I've seen them. I've been in shelters. I know what they look like as far as going to visit them. I've never lived in a shelter, thankfully, and I'm grateful to God because of that reason. But I do know people who've had to go to a shelter or who had to go live with someone, a relative, a friend. I can think of a couple situations where I know the person had to get out of the situation because they were being physically abused. Now, physical abuse is one thing, and it's a huge part of domestic violence. However, also verbally abuse, psychological abuse are components that go alongside of the physical. Sometimes a person might not hit you, but they threaten you, say they're going to do this, and they might throw things, tear your things up, damage your property, destroy your property. So all of these things are signs to be aware of. If you're in these situations, my advice is to get out as soon as possible. Find a friend, talk to somebody you can trust, go on the hotline that I've given you. Do your very best to get out of it. And again, there's a psychological component to when you're being coerced to when someone is threatening you. Everybody does not have the wherewithal to withstand that sort of abuse. And so they shrink. And what do I mean by shrink? Instead of fighting back, they take it internally. Hear me clear. Sometimes when you're in an abusive situation, you internalize all of the abuse. So that will cause you to keep your mouth closed, to stay silent, to not talk. And God, I thank you because as I pour out this information to people, they won't stay in these situations anymore because you want them healed, you want them delivered, and you want them set free. So I pour myself out into these videos, oh God, that somebody might hear this information and they might get the help that they need. Father, send help to them, send support to them, give them courage, encourage them, empower them to get out of those situations. Let them find a counselor, someone they can confide in, somebody who will care enough for them to help them along the journey because it is a journey. It's not going to happen. Even though you may be able to physically remove yourself from the situation, you're still going to have the effects of it. Your children, if you have children, they are so affected by this kind of abuse. And I urge you to get out. I urge you to pray, to seek God, and to get help because faith without work is dead. So if you believe in God and you trust in Him, He will make a way for you to escape out of this kind of danger. This is a dangerous situation, and you've got to get out. So I'll come back some more. We'll talk about the second. I just touched on the subject, but I wanted to give you that information. I want to move along because it is a lot of information to impart. But I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted you to know that there are people out here that love you. There are people out here that work tirelessly to help people like you in these kinds of situations. There is a good support system that you can find. Again, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline, talk to a counselor, get input so that you can find a way out of that situation. God does not want us abused. God has the very best for you. And right now, you may not feel like that. You may feel like you are alone, but I am a voice in the wilderness speaking to your spirit, speaking to your heart, speaking to your mind for you to get help. And I am praying constantly, consistently for God to loose the bands of wickedness off of people who have been abused. And so I love you. I will support you. I gave you the information. I will come back and I will bombard this airway, this social media platform with the information. Yes, these videos are lengthy, but it's valuable information on here. And I will hope to see your comments. Please let me know if you have contacted her, if you're someone in this type of situation, or if you know someone. Share this video with them. Give them the information I have given to you. Do not stand by and allow somebody to be in this situation and you don't give a hand of support in any way that you can. All right, this is Lady T Speaks. This is Lady T Speaks TV, where we talk about the reality of relationships. And this topic is talking about domestic intimate violence abuse. Again, share the video, send your comments. I am a counselor. I've been called by God. I do help people in these kinds of situations. Reach out to me via YouTube and then we can discuss. And again, I will direct you to the proper resources. Take care, everyone. Love you. Talk to you all soon.